What's a joke that got so out of hand it actually changed someone's life? It started as the dumbest possible joke, scribbled on a ballot during a boring assembly. I never imagined it would end with the entire school crying in the gym. Our high school took homecoming way too seriously. There were campaign posters, lunchroom speeches, even a kid who hired a mariachi band to announce his run for homecoming king. The whole thing was a popularity contest dressed up as tradition, and the same three guys won every year: the quarterback, the rich kid, and whoever had the most followers. So during the nomination assembly, when they passed around the write-in ballots, I did something stupid. Instead of one of the obvious names, I wrote down Mr. Hollis. Mr. Hollis was our custodian, 60-something, gray mustache, always pushing his cart with one squeaky wheel down the science hall. He'd worked at our school for 31 years. He knew every kid's name, propped open the gym doors when it rained so we wouldn't get soaked, and once fixed my locker without writing me up for jamming it, but nobody noticed him. He was just part of the building. I showed my friend Reese the ballot, expecting a laugh. Instead, she grabbed her own and wrote the same thing. Then she showed the kid next to her. By the end of the assembly, the joke had spread down our entire row. I figured that was the end of it. A funny little inside thing. It was not the end of it. Monday morning, someone had made flyers. Real ones, printed in the library. A grainy photo of Mr. Hollis mid-mop with the slogan, "Vote Hollis, he actually shows up for us." They were taped to lockers all down the freshman hall. By Tuesday, it had a hashtag. Kids were filming themselves holding doors for each other, in the spirit of Hollis. The squeaky wheel cart became a thing. People would hum the squeak when he walked by, not to mock him, but like a fight song. He'd just shake his head and keep mopping, but I swear I caught him smiling once. By Wednesday, the campaign had a manager. A junior named Caleb built an actual website. Someone designed a logo of a mop crossed with a crown. The cafeteria started a petition, and even teachers were signing it during their free periods. That's when Principal Voss stepped in. He called an emergency announcement over the intercom. Homecoming nominations are reserved for currently enrolled students. Staff members are not eligible. Any write-in votes for ineligible candidates will be discarded. You could hear the entire school groan through the walls. But here's what Voss didn't understand. He'd just turned a joke into a cause. By Thursday, the signs came out. Not angry ones, funny ones. Democracy died in the janitor's closet. Free Hollis! Somebody started a rumor that Voss was scared of losing to a man with a mop. And honestly, it tracked. Kids who'd never spoken to each other were suddenly united behind a 60-year-old custodian. Reese and I went to Voss's office to make the case. It's not really about homecoming anymore, I told him. It's about the fact that this guy has taken care of us for 31 years and nobody ever said thank you. Voss leaned back in his chair, unimpressed. It's a tradition with rules. Rules don't bend for a prank. I almost gave up right there. But then something happened that none of us planned. On Friday, the school board held its monthly open meeting. The boring public kind nobody attends. Except this time, about 200 students showed up. We packed the room. One by one, kids stood at the little microphone and told stories about Mr. Hollis. How he'd quietly fixed a kid's bike chain so he wouldn't miss the bus. How he stayed late every night so the sports teams could practice. How he'd slipped a granola bar to a freshman who couldn't afford lunch and never said a word about it. The board members just sat there, stunned. The next morning, the intercom crackled on. But it wasn't Voss. It was the superintendent. She announced that the board had voted unanimously to create a brand new title for that year's homecoming, separate from the student court, and that the inaugural recipient by overwhelming community nomination was Mr. Hollis. At the game that night, they called him out to center court. He came shuffling out in the same uniform he wore every day, looking like he wanted to disappear. When they placed the crown on his head, the entire stadium, students, parents, even the visiting team, rose to their feet. Mr. Hollis stood there gripping the microphone with both hands, the gym dead silent, waiting for whatever this quiet man had kept inside for 31 years. He looked out at all of us, cleared his throat, and said, "Took you long enough."